They cut me out of the family. My mom's text was blunt. "You're no longer one of us. Move forward." I didn't respond. Instead, I silently removed my name from the family trust, withdrew my signature from the mortgage papers, and froze the joint inheritance fund. By dawn, my brother sent a message. "Accounts are blocked." "What's going on?" I smirked. Then my dad's attorney called. "We need to resolve this now." I switched off my phone, and then my parents. What struck me in the worst way was how quickly they turned. How effortlessly they flipped on me. After all I'd done, one refusal, no, and they acted like I'd always been the issue. The text arrived on a Thursday morning. "You're no longer one of us. Move forward." No warning, no discussion, just those 2 lines from my mom, brief, definitive, like I was a subscription they'd canceled. I sat there, phone in hand, for a long time. No rage, not even sorrow, just a strange calm, as if my mind had finally aligned with what my gut had long suspected. They never truly saw me as family. I was convenient. I was reliable. I was the one who cleaned up their messes, the ones no one else would touch. But family? That word never held real weight with them. They always preached loyalty. To them, loyalty meant submission. When Dad was ill, I was the one sleeping on that stiff hospital cot. When Jard totaled his car, I covered half the cost. When Mom maxed out her medical card and started charging her meds to a credit line in my name, I cleared the debt without asking for repayment. Every time they needed something, a lift, a loan, a favor, I showed up. Every time. But last week, they asked me to sign over my share of Grandma's lake house. No compensation, no discussion. Just hand it over so Jard could use it as collateral for a business loan. I asked what the business was. He said upscale poultry sheds. I said no, that was it. The beginning and the end. The fallout wasn't a dialogue, it was a landslide. Dad stopped talking to me. Jard blocked my number. Mom sent that final text like she was disconnecting a utility. They didn't expect me to act. They thought I'd mope, maybe call and beg for forgiveness. They didn't know I'd seen this coming. That night, I went through every account, not out of spite, but because I knew their playbook. They'd try to exploit anything tied to my name, so I made sure there was nothing left to exploit. I removed my signature from the mortgage documents, froze the inheritance fund from Grandma's estate, locked down every shared asset they could still access through me. I even called the bank to flag any suspicious activity. I knew how fast Jard moved when he sensed easy cash. By morning, the messages rolled in. Jard first. "Everything's frozen. What did you do?" Then Dad's attorney. "We need to sort this out immediately. Call me." I powered off my phone. That evening, I called Greg, Grandma's old financial advisor. He always liked me. Said I was the only one who showed up to the will reading clear-headed. I asked one question. Was the lake house transfer ever finalized? He chuckled. "No, it's still split 3 ways. You, your dad, and your aunt." "Why?" "Because Mom and Dad had lied. They told me it was already transferred, that my signature was just a formality to update the deed with Jard's name. But the paperwork was incomplete. They couldn't touch the lake house without me, not legally." Greg shared something else that night, something unexpected. "There's another document your mom never filed, a financial clause in the trust. It gives you sole control of the emergency reserve fund. Grandma added it herself a year before she passed. I asked for a copy. He sent it over. And just like that, I realized they hadn't just excluded me. They'd tried to cheat me, quietly, but methodically. They banked on me not checking. They banked on me giving in. What they didn't expect was what I'd do next. By Saturday, their world started unraveling. Jard had been texting since 6 a.m., then switched to accusations when I didn't answer. One message read, "Dad says you locked the fund. What's your deal?" I didn't reply. I was at my kitchen table, coffee half drunk, rereading Greg's email. It confirmed what I'd suspected. That emergency fund they thought was theirs to tap. It wasn't. Grandma had quietly made me the sole overseer before she died. My name was on the control clause, not as a co-owner, not as a fallback. As the only one with authority, they never knew, because they never bothered with details. They just assumed everything would fall into place. So when I froze the fund, I wasn't nervous. It was mine to secure. And I did it before they could drain it for another of Jard's failed ventures. This time it was upscale poultry sheds. Last time it was artisanal garden statues. Before that, a paintball field in a failing plaza. I figured once the money stopped, they'd either back off or push harder. They pushed harder. By Sunday, Mom changed tactics. No more attacks. Instead, she sent this. "Maybe we all said things we regret. Let's talk. You can't shut us out like this, Thomas. That money's for the family. This isn't right." Right, that word. I remembered her sobbing on the phone 2 years ago when Dad's surgery bills spiraled. I stepped in without hesitation. Paid $12,000 from my savings, never asked for repayment, never mentioned it again. I remembered co-signing Jard's first car loan when his credit was shot, then covering his missed payments when he bylaid. Right never came up then. Now suddenly I was being unfair. That's when I decided to escalate. I drafted a formal letter to Dad's attorney. Brief, clear, no emotion. As a legal beneficiary and co-title holder, I'm requesting a full review of the estate's transactions from the past year. I believe several withdrawals were unauthorized. I knew what that would spark. Not just a review, an investigation. If they'd moved funds, claimed fake expenses, or altered titles behind my back, it would surface. And I knew they had. I recalled a conversation from last Thanksgiving. Jard had bragged about using Grandma's reserve to cover a failed arcade machine deal. Mom laughed and told him to be smarter. Dad stayed silent. I thought they were joking then. I was mistaken. The attorney replied within an hour. Voicemail, then an email. This is a serious step, Thomas. We can handle this privately. Please call. I didn't. I went to the gym instead. That evening I stopped at a diner, ate alone, no hurry. I watched the staff clean tables, saw families laughing, none of them aware of the chaos I was stirring up. When I got home, someone was at my door, my aunt. I hadn't seen her in nearly 2 years. She looked weary, not angry, not shocked. Just exhausted. She showed me a text from Mom. Thomas is trying to take the lake house. We need to file a claim before he ruins us. Then she asked what's really happening, so I told her everything. I showed her the documents. The freeze order, the review request. Grandma's signed clause for the emergency fund. Everything. She listened, said little. Then after a pause, she said they've been trying to push me out too. Jard asked me to sign something last month. I said I'd consider it, and your dad stopped answering my calls. She stood, glanced around my apartment like she wanted to say more. Good. Let them face the mess they made. They've gotten away with this too long. I didn't expect her to take a side. But now I had someone else who saw it, who confirmed I wasn't imagining things. This wasn't about money. It was about control. And when I stopped giving them mine, they panicked. What they didn't know was that I was just beginning. I hadn't touched the lake house yet, or the accounts they thought I'd overlooked, or the family secrets never documented. They thought I was gone, but I had just stepped up. By Monday, things went quiet. No furious texts from Jard, no manipulation from Mom, no calls from Dad's attorney. That's how I knew they were scrambling, likely meeting behind closed doors, trying to figure out how things flipped so fast. They were quick to act when they felt in control, but silence, that meant fear. I didn't wait. I filed a formal title dispute on the lake house with the county. Simple. I submitted a beneficiary conflict notice, halting any deed transfers until a legal review. It also flagged any backdated paperwork as questionable. Perfect, because I was about to get one. That afternoon, my aunt forwarded an email Jard sent her by mistake. It was meant for Dad. Attached was a fake contract. A property transfer agreement with my name typed on it, dated 3 months back. I'd never seen it. He'd forged my digital signature. Carelessly, too, the date format didn't match the document. My aunt didn't ask if it was real. She knew. I sent it to my lawyer immediately. He called within the hour. Want to report this now? He asked. This is clear fraud. I said not yet. Not because I was unsure. I just hadn't finished severing their lifelines. While they were scheming over the lake house, I was digging into something they'd forgotten. Something Grandma never told them. Her private account. I vaguely recalled it. One Thanksgiving, she mentioned keeping a separate emergency fund. Your mom would blow it in a week if she knew, she'd teased. I thought it was just her being cautious. I was wrong. Greg called that night after checking old files. He'd found it, untied to the trust, not in the will. A private account with $73,000 in a small credit union under Grandma's name. Beneficiary? Me, only me. I didn't touch it. Just had Greg transfer it to my name, keep it quiet, and lock it. Let them think I was struggling, cut off, desperate. They had no clue. That evening after 10, someone knocked. I checked the peephole. Dad, I didn't open. He stood there, staring at the door, then slid an envelope underneath and left. No words. I waited until morning to read it. Inside was a note in his handwriting. You're trying to ruin us. You've gone too far. We're still your family. Stop this now. You're done. Attached was a draft petition from their attorney aiming to challenge my beneficiary status. They claimed I was financially manipulative and unstable. They were trying to erase me legally. I took a breath, went to my desk, and pulled out an envelope I'd kept for 2 years. A signed, notarized power of attorney from Grandma, given 6 months before she passed. I'd never wanted to use it, hoped I wouldn't have to. I scanned it, attached it to an email, and sent it to my lawyer. Subject: they want a battle. Let's give them one. Because if they wanted to go legal, go personal, go low, I'd show them how precisely I could take them apart. Tuesday started with a call from an unknown number. I let it ring twice, then answered. Hi, Thomas. Martha Jacobs, First View Title Services. We're processing a lake house title transfer and your signature's on the release, but it seems off. Did you sign this? I said no. She paused, then said Jard had pushed to rush it. That was enough. Reject it, I said, and document it. That's fraudulent. She agreed. I hung up and filed a fraud complaint with the county registrar. Jard had forged my signature again, this time on a legal filing. He wasn't just pushing limits, he was trying to wipe me out. By noon, Jard texted, "You're playing a dangerous game. Don't do something you can't undo." No apology, no explanation, just another veiled threat. They still didn't get it. They thought this was a fight. For me, the fight was over. I was dismantling now, carefully, one step at a time. I logged into the family credit line, one I hadn't checked in 2 years. I'd kept it open because Dad pleaded it was for emergencies only. 6 clicks later, I saw the truth. Over $22,000 charged. All in my name, none by me, furniture purchases, gadgets. A resort stay in Chalum labeled business costs. Spa treatments, they didn't even try to hide it. They thought they'd never get caught because they believed I'd never look. I flagged every charge, filed an identity theft affidavit, and sent it to the bank. By evening, the account was locked, their access cut, and I wasn't done. I called my company's HR, asking about protocols for identity misuse without sharing the family mess. Then my manager called me in. He looked uneasy. Said someone from Dad's law firm had contacted them, claiming I was misusing company resources, unstable, and a risk to my job. They tried to get me fired. They weren't just lying. They were escalating hard and fast, so I handed over my folder. Printouts, screenshots, Grandma's power of attorney, forged documents, bank records, voicemails. I laid it out calmly. My manager read it, nodded, and said, if they call again, we'll send it to legal. You're protected. I left that meeting knowing one thing. I had no family left. Not in the usual sense, but I had proof, and now I had the evidence. That night I listened to a voicemail I'd ignored. Mom's voice, trembling but not with regret. You've gone too far, Thomas. You think this makes you tough? You think this is fair? You're just cutting off the only people who ever loved you. You're isolating yourself. There it was, the switch from betrayal to victim, like I was the one tearing the family apart. I sat with it for a while, no sadness, no anger, just clarity, so I sent one text. Short, clear. To Mom, Dad, and Jard. Let's see how you manage without me, because they'd seen what I could take away. They hadn't yet seen what I still held. The lake house wasn't even the biggest piece. There were still trust allocations, deferred assets. A life insurance clause they never read closely. They wanted a fight. They wanted me gone, so I gave them what they asked for, and the consequences were just beginning. By Thursday, I got a call from a number I hadn't seen in years, Uncle Ray. Dad's older brother, the one who made everyone squirm at family gatherings because he asked hard questions. He'd been sidelined years ago after exposing Dad's shady moves with their father's estate. He didn't mince words. Heard what's going on. Good, they've had it coming. That told me 2 things. 1, word was spreading. 2, I had more allies than I realized. I shared a bit, not everything. He listened, then asked if I remembered Grandma's second property. I froze, the lake lot. I hadn't thought of it in years. He told me something new. It was never in the trust. Grandma had put it in a separate holding company years ago. She'd told him over coffee once, that's for the one who stays honest. I hadn't seen any documents, but Ray had. He sent me a copy that night. It was active, still in her name. Successor beneficiary, me, only me. So while they fought over the lake house, I quietly inherited a lakefront lot worth twice as much, one they didn't even know existed. I didn't tell them. Not yet. Instead, I had my lawyer notify Dad's attorney that, due to repeated forgery, credit fraud, and estate mismanagement, we were pursuing formal litigation. If they wanted legal games, we'd play for real. Then I cut the last tie, the family phone plan. I've been the primary account holder for years, for convenience. They never paid a cent. I covered every bill, 3 lines, all mine. I canceled it with 1 call. By noon, Jard texted, "Phone's cut off. What's wrong with you?" Then, for the first time, Dad sent a message that didn't feel hostile. "We need to talk, not attorneys, just us, please." I didn't reply. Later, Mom texted too. "I don't know what to say anymore. I didn't want this. Can we talk before it goes further?" Now they wanted to talk, after the fraud, the threats, the fake papers. The smear attempt at my job. After trying to erase me, now they wanted to chat. I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I pulled out a letter I'd written myself a year ago when I first felt the rift growing. It said, if they force you to choose between calm and self-respect, choose self-respect. Calm without it isn't calm. I reread it, leaned back, and realized something. This was never about the lake house. It was about power, about control. About who gets to rewrite the story and who's expected to stay silent. They thought I was mad because they excluded me. They didn't see I'd already walked away long ago. I was just finally removing the pieces of me they'd been using to stay afloat. And now, they were sinking in their own decisions. By Friday, the tone shifted. No more threats, no more lies. Just silence, then a slow drip of half apologies. Jard sent the first, I screwed up. I got carried away. I just wanted to create something, man. He skipped the part where he forged my signature. The part where he tried to get me fired. But it was a change. Then Mom called, I let it go to voicemail. Thomas, your dad's been ill. He's been hiding it. I think this has been too much. Maybe we mishandled things. Can we talk? No, sorry, but it was the closest she'd come. That afternoon, Dad's attorney sent a formal email. They were dropping the petition to remove me from the estate. No apology, no reasoning, just a withdrawal. They knew they'd lost. But I wasn't angry anymore. That was gone. What I felt was focus. It was never about vengeance, not really. It was about being honest with them, with myself, about who they were and who they weren't, but they wanted peace. And despite everything, part of me did too. I didn't want to drag this through courts forever. I had nothing left to prove, so I agreed to meet. One time, one condition, my aunt would be there. My lawyer would be copied on every email. Everything documented. We met in a neutral office, one of those quiet spaces where no one can yell or grandstand. Just sit. Listen. Sign. They looked different when they arrived, smaller somehow. Like people who finally saw they couldn't outrun the fallout. Dad spoke first. I know I went too far, we all did. I don't know how we fix this, but I'd rather try than lose more. Then Mom, we were scared. Not of you, just of what it meant when you said no. We messed up. I see that now. Jard said little, just nodded, avoided my eyes. I waited before speaking. I'm not pretending nothing happened. I'm not returning to how things were. But I'll move forward with you on my terms. They nodded. No objections, so I laid them out. My share of the trust stays untouched. No loans, no requests. The lake house stays co-owned, but I control any decisions on refinancing or sales. The lakefront lot is mine. End of story. All financial connections, past and present, are severed. No more joint accounts, no co-signing, no favors. If they go behind my back again, even once, I'm gone for good. I watched them process it. No shouting, no arguments, just quiet agreement. They agreed. We signed a binding document. Everyone left that day changed. I won't say things are perfect now. We're not sharing family dinners. We're not exchanging holiday cards, but there's space. There's silence. There's respect, the real kind, the kind that only comes after you've been burned and choose not to burn back. They didn't just lose their hold on me. They lost their version of me, the one who'd do anything for their approval, even at the cost of his own self-worth. That version's gone. What's left is me, and I'm okay with that. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.